Hello everybody, welcome to Bass and Bonsai. It's Charlie here. We are going to do our shootout for the cheap reels. We've got these two under $60 reels. They're kind of popular. They're starting to get known about them. I know here in the States you guys probably don't know much about them, but around the around the world, in different countries, these are sort of known and loved, and they're under 60 bucks. You can get them off AliExpress. We're going to do a shootout between the two, see which one I like. If you look at the compare video, this is the lighter overall, lighter spool, shallower spool. Should work better for BFS. Stock bearings, so we'll see if the bearings play any effect. This is a deeper spool. I didn't spool it all the way. So we're going to get in there now. I'm going to put them on a rod, and let's get to this shootout and see what happens. So buckle up, hang on tight, here we go. All right, here we go. Now I've already cast this rod, and you can see I've got it adjusted on the tension control that this is kind of sort of tight. That jig is just falling when it hits. It doesn't, create any kind of overrun. Now I will tell you, this steed is a little confusing for me anyway. It took me a while because these little dots, it looks like this one's bigger, and I just took it that means more brake, but it's not. It's the other way around, so that the magnets, go away. When you turn it to that bigger dot, they actually go away from the spool, makes it looser, and you'll get overruns and backlashes. And this reel likes it all the way tight. So if you look back in the compare video, you'll see that on the side plate, you take this off, there are little magnets just like on the Abu Garcia, and this side has them, and this other side have empty spots. It probably needs more because all the way tight, and you can see you can cast it as hard as you want, no overrun. If you back it off just a couple clicks, and you don't even have to cast it very hard, it wants to start to overrun. So it tells me, and we're hitting, by the way, the yellow line. It's right about the yellow line. I can get it sometimes a little further, sometimes not quite to it, and it'll let you cast pretty much. This is the Tomo rod, and you can pretty much just zing it out there. And so that's about 75 feet. So that is, and I think it's because of this rod. I'll show you real quick the bend. You guys see how the whole rod pretty much bends. It's pretty soft. It's going to be like what you guys would think of an ultralight, for crappie fishing with the spinning gear or something like that. It's a pretty light rod. But keep in mind, if you do get one of these, I'd start with this tension pretty tight, maybe not quite that tight, but that's close, and then I'd start with that all the way tight, and you can back it off a couple, and see what you can get with it, and it'll let you cast pretty hard, and it seems to be fairly consistent to almost to the middle of the road. Every once in a while it's a few feet past, maybe a few feet on the other side or right at the line. So we're going to call it good on this one. All right, now we're going with the FX-50, and I've already made some casts with it just like I did the steed, and of course it's got an easy to read. You can tell exactly where the settings that come in this way is minimum, and this way is maximum, which is the same way the steed was, but you couldn't hardly make it out. Now on this one, it's got enough magnets inside that I only needed at 5. I've already tried to go back to 4 though, and I can cast, but it does overrun some. 5 will not let you have any overruns. I've got I may have this one just a touch tighter, but about the same setting on the adjustment for the tension control. So I can hear a car coming. We're going to let the car go by, and we're going to cast it out. And that was my bad. Almost to the yellow line, but I cast down, not out. So give me a minute here. And you'll see what I found out is that this thing is pretty much as good, if not a touch better, for whatever reason, than the steed. I don't know if it's in the bearings or what. It does have a heavier spool. And I went over the power line. Don't worry, I'm not going to get shocked. Got monofilament line. Doesn't conduct electricity. I don't think any line you use for fishing does, unless you're using some kind of lead core stuff. But I can consistently hit the yellow line with this one also. Every once in a while just shy of it, but past it sometimes also. So on casting this size bait, which I think is just over a 16th ounce when you add the stuff to it. This one, because of the adjustment, you still have room to work with. The Steed, I kind of had to have all the way adjusted tight, and I don't know, it probably could have went back a click, but I'd have to call them pretty much a tie. And then just the adjustability, how this has a clicker on both the drag and the tension, and it does, you know, these look a little better. They are heavier, but I'd probably have to call it the overall better of the two. I think is why I think these are a little more popular. It just looks a little better with the extra little bling, paint scheme maybe. But as far as castability, they're pretty much right on par with each other. And I'm thinking now what I'm going to do is just to see how these two compare with the high-end reel, my Abu Garcia. I'm going to switch it out and we'll see what it does. Oh, by the way, real quick, I'll tell you, this is a 6-pound test, just cheap BPS line. It's a 6-pound test monofilament. All right, now we're going to go with my Abu Garcia Revo LTX-BF8. You can see I've got it, hits the ground. It's a tad looser than, but I've already got it set, tad looser than what I've got the other two. But I do have the brakes turned all the way to the max. Because if you remember right, this one that I've said that, mentioned a few times, it probably needs another magnet put in, but I just never put one in it. But I am consistently either hitting the yellow line or going past it, to where the other reels will put you, you know, some casts it just, that one, I know you can't see that out there, but the yellow line is the middle of the road, and it definitely is going to the yellow line. Well, it's gone past it every time except once I hit right on the yellow line, and almost the other side of the road that time. So I'd say, let me try a good cast there. Yeah, I can almost hit the other side of the road. So you're probably at least 5 foot you're gaining on this reel. But this is like a, when you can find it cheap, you can find them for $300, but I think they retail for like $3, $4 something, or pretty expensive compared to a $50, $60 reel. So not a huge difference, honestly. I probably won't be trading this for a Steed or an FX-50. Yeah, I almost hit the other side of the road again. And I'll just, let me walk out here and show you guys real. So we've done measurements within here. It pulled it in. But anyway, out here is where we were hitting, somewhere right in here, with the other ones maybe a little behind it, or hitting it, or just past it. With this one, I'm hitting out in here somewhere all the time, and then sometimes I'm hitting over in here. So you're gaining that little bit of time, a little bit of distance. And what'd your mama tell you, never play out in the road? But anyway. All right, guys, hope you liked that video. I'll be honest with you. I still prefer the Steed. This Steed, I guess because kind of I'm a weight guy. Now don't get me wrong, I don't prefer it to this. This guy's still my favorite. For the cheap ones we just compared here, I still like this one better. Definitely worth the money. Any of these reels, this reel and this reel, are way worth what they want for them and what you can get them for. If you go back to the compare video, you can get there's a listing at the very end of the video if you want to skip to it, and it shows you where the where I got them at off AliExpress, what they're called. Sometimes the names are tricky, looking them up to find them on AliExpress. The reason I don't like this one, I think it does overall maybe have a little bit better looks. These are cool, they look awesome, but they're heavy. When you're holding this, I'm gonna switch hands here. when you're holding this reel, you can feel that weight, and you just can. So if you don't care, you're just a, you know, say a bigger guy, or you just don't care about what something weighs, you want looks, this is probably the one you'll go to. I think they're both very, very close on overall performance. And if you're just strictly for the looks of them, I'd probably go with this one. If you're like me and you like something that feels balanced and just, you know, the feel of it comes into play, this one, even on the rod, you can feel the weight of these two aluminum knobs. And I guess you could always, you know, take that off and put it on a different one and put a carbon fiber handle on this one, or whatever you want to do. So if you were just buying one to buy, you're not going to tinker with, you don't want to add different knobs, handles, have to get extra magnets maybe, because this one does. That's the only thing I don't like about it, having to turn it all the way up like that, and it still maybe could use a touch more, kind of like this one. But this one does have magnets, came with magnets. I have them, I'm just too lazy to put them in or try it. Now this one, right out of the box, awesome. The setting, it seemed to like it right in the middle. You still have adjustments either way. Doesn't need any extra thing to give it that cool factor. So this is why I think this one's popular. It's got the extra click here, which does make a difference to some people. So this is probably why I think this one is more known, more popular than this guy. But either one, guys, very awesome reels for under 60 bucks. So like always, hit that like button, wherever that like button's down here. Subscribe to Bass and Bonsai if you haven't already. And whatever you do, help me share this channel. Bass and Bonsai, we need to get our subscribers up, our views up, everything. I'm gonna try to start doing some giveaways, but I really need to, I don't know, make some money with the channel to actually justify doing it. So I would like to give probably this guy away, and maybe even this one. I'll just buy me another one because it's got that little nick. I'll give it away. Maybe just buy me a new one, maybe that the knobs actually come off of. But like always, guys, tell Donald Trump about this channel, your friends, your neighbors, your enemies, complete strangers walking in the supermarket. Say, hey man, if you watch Bass and Bonsai, and definitely if you're at a nursery, any kind of garden center, tell anybody there. And like always, thanks for watching.
My God! Woo! Ain't that frog?
Look at that frog.
Woo!
That's the biggest one I've caught this year.